his best, but he doesn't always get it right. At least when he's done something fairly morally questionable, he realises after the fact, which is better than not at all. So this is called The Flying Cloud. My name is William Hollander, as you shall understand. I was born in the county of Waterford in Erin's lovely land. I am at the age of 17, a beauty upon me shone, and I was my parents' pride and joy, I being their only son. My father bound me to a trade in Waterford's fair town, for he tied me to a butcher there by the name of Billy Brown. And I wore that bloody apron for 3 long years or more, till I shipped on board the Ocean Queen, belonging to Tremor. When I arrived at Bermuda's Isle, I met with Captain Moore, the commander of the Flying Cloud, all out of Baltimore. And he's asked me if I'd sail with him on a slaving voyage to go to the balmy shores of Africa, where the sugar canes do grow. And all went well till we arrived on Africa's burning shore, where 500 of those poor slaves from their native homes we tore, and we chained them up together and we flung them down below, where scarce 18 inches to a man, it was all I had to show. But then the plague and the fever came on board and took half of them away. So we dragged the bodies up on deck and we flung them in the sea, and I thought it might have been better for the rest of them if they'd have died as well, not to fear the lash nor feel the chain in Cuba forevermore. But now our money is all gone and we must sail again. So Captain Moore came up on deck and he said unto us men, you know there's gold and silver to be had if with me you'll remain. Come, let's fly the pirate's flag aloft and go sail the Spanish Main. All agreed but 3 young men, so we set them on the shore. 2 of them were Boston boys and the 3rd's from Baltimore. Now I wish to God I'd joined those men when they were set on shore, for I chose a wild and a reckless life serving under Captain Moore. 'Cause we robbed, we plundered, many's the ship down on the Spanish Main, causing many's the widow and orphan in sorrow to remain. But to the crews we showed no mercy, we dealt them a watery grave. For the saying of our captain is, dead men tell no tales. And pursued we were by many's the ship, by frigate and liner too, till at length the man of war, the Dungeness, hove in view. And we fought till Captain Moore was slain and 50 of our men. But then their chain shot tore our mainmast down, we were forced to surrender then. So it is now in Newgate jail I lie, bound down in iron chains, for robbing and for plundering down on the Spanish Main. For the jury found me guilty, now I am condemned to die. Young men, a warning by me take, and lead not such a life as I. So it is fare thee well to Waterford, and those girls that I adore. I'll never kiss your ruby lips nor squeeze your hands no more, for it's liquor and hard company have made a wreck of me. Come young men, a warning by me take, and shun pirates' company. As you may have gathered, I grew up with folk music and traditional songs and traditional dance and around the folk scene. I think for folky children growing up with this stuff, there's various songs that have pearls of wisdom contained within them that stand you in good stead for later life. That's one of them. I've always shunned Pirates Company. Shun them. I'm going to sing a song that I wrote, if that's all right by you. This is a song I wrote a few years ago, thinking about how, the fan pop star dynamic. I mean, I guess it could be the fan footballer or fan actor dynamic, I suppose. But thinking about how, especially when you're a sort of young teenager, your heroes seem completely bulletproof and they can't do any wrong, and then inevitably at a certain point they have some sort of Heat magazine fueled fall from grace. But my point is that's all part of the fan pop star dynamic and should be celebrated as such. So with all that in mind, I wrote this song which is called Adamant Alone in His Padded Cell. It's part of my unfinished concept album. It comes right after the song Kevin Rowland is having a little bit of bother. And before the big ballad which is called Come Home Paddy McAloon. I should add as a PS to this, I've since been to see Adam at a gig, and it was one of the greatest gigs I've ever seen, so please bear that in mind. This is called Adamant Alone in His Padded Cell. Is anyone familiar with the oeuvre of Adamant? Yes, a few. This is for you then. It's a country song, because I thought Adam would like that. Here we go. Alone in his padded cell, alone after a dizzy spell. The mist rolls down into the night, and the desk sergeant turns out the lights. He went to Kentish Town, into a public house, and he raised his voice, waving his gun about. The policeman came to take him away. The judge stabbed him and with a frame. They can take away all the wisdom he gave us. That's ridiculous. There's nothing to be afraid of. Alone in his padded cell, he casts his mind to stories that he could tell. All the things he's seen in all his career. As the king of the wild frontier. Malcolm and Berwick were worried when they heard the news. Gary and Terry Lee, they should have seen it coming too. There was nothing that they could do. the pre-warm scale. So Adam won't be appearing today, 'cause Adam is unwell. Thank you very much. I'm going to sing you a song from an opera now. Oh yeah. This is an opera that was written about 5 or 6 years ago by a friend of mine who's from Vermont, who's called Aeneas Mitchell. Has anyone seen Aeneas Mitchell? Yeah. Well, those of you that haven't should. That's all I'll say about it. But she wrote this opera called Hadestown, based on the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice. And I was very, very flattered and honoured when she brought it to London last year to be asked to sing the role of Orpheus. In Greek mythology, the greatest musician ever lived. So I've got typecast again. Martin Carthy plays Hades, Lord of the Underworld, though, so him too. This song comes about a third of the way through the show, and it comes when Orpheus discovers that his new bride, Eurydice, has sort of taken the bait and gone in search of the promise of untold wealth in the underworld in Hadestown, and he doesn't have a way of getting her back. But he sings this song, and Persephone, who's the wife of Hades, hears him singing and is persuaded to go to her husband and to strike them a bargain. And the bargain that they get offered is he can have his wife back if they walk the road out of the underworld with him several paces in front of her without turning round to which she's following. So you can imagine what happens at the end. It's not a very happy story. But this is the song he sings, and it's called If It's True. If it's true what they say, if my love has gone for good, you can take this heart away. You can take this flesh and blood, take my mouth that kissed her mouth, take my tongue that sung her praise, take my arms that used to reach out in the dark where she lay. If it's true what they say, I'll be on my way. If it's true what they say, if there's nothing to be done, if there's no part to be played, if there's no song to be sung, take this voice, take these hands, I can use them anyway. Take this music and the memory of the muse from which it came. If it's true what they say, I'll be on my way. We can all be on our way. If it's true what they say, but the ones who tell the lies, all this solemn is to swear. The ones who love the dice always say the truth is fair. The ones who deal the cards are the ones who take the tricks with their hands over their hearts while we play the game they fix. The ones who speak the words always say it is the last, and no answer will be heard to the question no one asks. So I ask you as a brother, I ask you as a friend, I ask you as a lover, and I ask you once again, is it true what they say? collected from a man called Tom Daniel, and I say collected in inverted commas because the story goes that Tom Daniel was an ex-mill worker, a retired mill worker in Batley in Yorkshire, and in the very early 60s he went along to his local folk club, and they were really delighted to have an old guy that might know some of the old songs there. So they asked him if he knew any old songs, and he said he did. He got up and he sang a verse and a chorus of this, but couldn't remember any more, so he sat down. He came back the next week and he sang another couple of verses, and then he couldn't remember any more. And this went on for a period of several weeks. It's generally accepted these days that Tom Daniel was going home each week and writing a new verse for his traditional song. But it reminds me of when Vaughan Williams started collecting songs, he got quite a few from a man called Mr. Potiphar, including a version of Bushes and Briars. And he went and he played this version of Bushes and Briars to some other folk song collectors, and they said it couldn't possibly be a real traditional song. Mr. Potiphar must have made it up because common people couldn't possibly have come up with a melody that sophisticated. And Vaughan Williams' response to this in a letter was, if that is so, then good for Mr. Potiphar. And good for Tom Daniel as well. So this is called Poverty Knock. And it's poverty, poverty, no. I knew it say all day, oh, poverty, poverty, no. Covers too skinny to pay us. Poverty, poverty, no. Always one eye on the clock. No, I can gobble when I hear my shuttle go. Poverty, poverty, no. We have to work our yard by dipping tea on the top. It's cold and soggy, it makes me feel groggy. There's rats in the dirty old one. Sometimes a shuttle flies out and gives some poor woman a clout. She lies there bleeding, but nobody's heeding who's gonna carry her out. 'Cause it's poverty, poverty now. I knew it saying all day. Poverty, poverty now. need to pay us. And poverty, poverty, no. Always whine on the clock. I know I can guttle, but I hear my shuttle go. Poverty, poverty, no. Oh, how my poor head sings. I should have woven 3 strings. The threads they keep breaking, my poor heart is aching. Oh God, how I wish I had wings. Okay, I'm going to sing you another non-ballad now. It's not as long as it